I'm good. I'm good.
Are we ready?
Yeah, I'm just gonna move back
Okay.
here.
So have any of you attended more than one Spanish course?
Yeah, yep.
No, okay, so you two have. Did you participate in one course more than the other?
Yeah. Only because one of them was partially online, so, I mean,
Okay, so did you participate more in the one that was online than the one that was face-to-face, or the other way around?
the other way around.
So you participate more face-to-face?
Right.
Okay,
And my participation was honestly largely influenced by the teacher, because the teacher that I was more responsive to was more open to students themselves and to engaging with the students, whereas the other teacher was sort of just there to tell you stuff and do this or do that. And,
so there wasn't a lot of opportunity.
right. And
participate.
they also sort of seemed like they didn't want too many questions as well.
Okay,
That was good.
very good. Now, I'm sure your Spanish instructors employ a lot of different activities to help you all acquire the language. Are there any activities that he or she uses that you particularly enjoy?
Yes, my instructor walks around and we have a small class. So because we have such a small class, she can go to each individual person and say, hey, what's this? And you have to answer. You can't just fall back and sit back and let everybody else answer. You know, you have to actually answer and you have to figure it out and give her the correct answer. And then when you don't, she helps you. So that's the one I like.
So you like
Okay.
a small classroom setting?
Yes.
Okay, anybody else?
I agree. I mean, my teacher does sort of the same thing where, not necessarily walking around, but he makes sure that each person sort of, if we have a worksheet to do, everybody at least gets to answer one question, and if you don't get it wrong, or if you don't get it right, that's not a big deal, and it's about discovering why you thought what you were doing and figuring out what you should do next time to do better.
With the worksheet, does he like go around the room? Everybody knows they get one, and he just goes with
In
the teacher
order?
like that, or
Or
how,
is
how
it
does he?
random?
How does everybody know that they're going to get to participate in giving answers for the worksheet?
Just from past experiences, and he just says, I know there's a couple people out here who haven't answered the questions yet, so he doesn't allow people to answer 5 questions or something to that effect, and
Okay.
it's not a big deal if we run out of people, because we do have somewhat of a smaller class, so it's not that big of a deal if somebody answers a couple questions after everybody has already answered one question, but it's sort of, like she said, so that you don't just get to sit there and say, oh, well, I got this wrong, I'm just going to cross it out and write the right answer. You have to actively participate and prove that you got at least one question right, I guess.
Okay.
Now, you had said there was a classroom situation where there wasn't a lot of opportunity to participate. What's different about the class where you are motivated to participate? Is it just
There's a lot
directed
more-
questions towards you? Or?
Right, there's a lot more questions. We do worksheets, whereas in the previous class with little participation, she would write things and do things on the board, and we would do an activity in class, mostly just out of the book, and say, well, we read this paragraph, and then we're supposed to underline the verbs or whatever, and then in the classroom setting, we would go through and as a whole, we would read through and say, okay, how many verbs were in this sentence or something to that effect, and then we would maybe answer the questions after that are directed towards the paragraph. Whereas the classroom setting with more participation doesn't quite follow the book to a T. We still do activities in the book where we read a paragraph, and we'll do simultaneous translation as well as answering the questions at the end. But the more participation is involved when there are worksheets that each student can have an opportunity to answer, and we have, I guess, a lot more quizzes and stuff like that, and it's just a lot more participation in between, talking back and forth between the teacher and
Some discussion.
yeah.
Okay, excellent. Now, are you all more likely to participate in an activity if it is graded?
I think it definitely makes me more nervous to do a graded activity, and I like to, just a personal preference of mine is I feel more relaxed, and I think I do better when I don't feel that pressure of, oh, I have to do this or I have to do that. It's like at home when I'm sitting there in my bed doing my homework, obviously I take a lot longer, but it's just that I have more time to think about my answer, and I seem to get the right answer more often, whether that's just because I'm looking it up in the book or something like that. But I like to have the ability to go back after I've already come up with an answer and to see if I got it right or not, to check myself that is.
So
Let
you
me-
prefer non-graded, how about you?
Can I ask a
Sure.
follow-up question? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but as an example, I don't know how many of you, are you guys all using My Language Labs?
Mhm.
Okay, I know in my classes, I'll sometimes put what I expect my students to do for homework, and then I'll do like extra practice activities. I don't know if I know because you had, does anyone else, does that happen? Because I was just gonna ask how likely you would be if you were given activities that were graded and activities that weren't graded, how likely
you
you'd
do
be to
both?
do both? Honestly.
I probably wouldn't do both.
Okay.
I would probably just do the
You're
graded
gonna,
activity.
you're gonna prioritize the graded work over
Right.
the non-graded work.
Okay.
So,
And whether it be because of the specific situation, I might have another class that I might want
Right.
to concentrate on. Maybe I have a test coming up or something that, and I just say, oh, well, I'll study the Spanish and I'll do the bonus activities tomorrow or after this test for my other class, and then forget about it and just don't really end up doing it for whatever reason.
I have another question before we move on to the next one. This kind of went back with the other stuff, but when you're doing those classwork activities and you're asked to give a response to your teacher in front of everybody, are any of you nervous about doing that, afraid that you might not give the right response in front of everybody? Does that ever make you nervous?
Yes,
Does that prevent you from participating, or do you try it anyway?
try it anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, because just because you see other people getting it wrong as well, I
Yeah.
think that
Yeah.
if it's okay to be wrong and you're not ridiculed and you see that other people are wrong too, I mean, it sort of makes it okay to be wrong, and that's just something that you have to reason in your own head and be okay with yourself being wrong.
So as long as the students, so what you're saying is if the students don't make fun of you or give you a hard time for having a wrong answer, and if the teacher as well doesn't give you a hard time, then you're okay. Would it also help, do you ever get an opportunity where you're giving a class answer and before you have to give it to the teacher, you get a moment to confer with other students?
Yeah, we have, sometimes we'll do like take-home activities where
Okay.
it's just like a sort of takeaway where at the end of the class, my teacher will give us a sentence that we have to answer or a question that we have to answer, and then we'll come in maybe the next class and we'll take a couple minutes at the beginning of the class and we'll find someone that we haven't talked to in a while, or that if it's early in the semester, that we haven't talked to at all.
Yeah.
And sort of make friends with them and ask them that question and sort of answer that question for them. We'll take their answer and the teacher will ask us the question and we'll answer for them or something like that. It's just sort of a way to talk with other students.
Does getting to confer with another student before you have to give your answer in front of the class, does that help, does that make you more likely to share your answers with the class?
yeah.
Sometimes.
I think it makes you
Sometimes.
more confident because you sort of have that second opinion.
Yeah.
Even though it is just a student, and I mean, hey, anyone can be wrong, we're all human, but that second opinion to sort of confirm what I thought was the right answer, and sometimes they might point out something that I didn't notice about my answer, and just use the wrong verb tense or forget a word or something like that in there.
Now, Shonda, do you consider yourself an introvert or an extrovert?
Introvert?
Introvert is someone who likes to kind of recharge her energy alone, versus being an extrovert gets energized by being with a crowd of people?
I'm still say introvert.
Introvert. Now, as an introvert, are you more likely to participate in a face-to-face environment, or are you more likely to participate online where you can type an answer, or does it not matter to you?
More so face to face. More so face to face.
So you'd rather talk face-to-face,
Yeah.
but in a small class rather than a big class?
Yes.
Okay. How about you, introvert or extrovert?
Definitely introverted.
Introverted.
I think the online stuff is helpful, but it's not for everybody. Like, some people definitely need more than just the online to help like boost and reinforce what they learn. So I think the face-to-face is definitely more helpful.
So you
Even as an
prefer interacting in a face-to-face environment? Okay, how about you, Will?
I think I'm pretty introverted as well. There are times when I can be extroverted, but I like to think of myself as an introvert, and I like the ability of having an explanation along with why I got the question wrong, not just the online where they just give you a big red X and say, you got this wrong, try it again. And that's sometimes that just prompts you, at least it prompts me to just go look up in the book and say, oh, well, this is what I should have conjugated it as, and it doesn't seem to stick as well, I don't think, because I tried and then I failed, and then I just go and sort of give up and look up the answer. Whereas with like a face-to-face, you don't really have that option. It's sort of the teacher will give you a suggestion or something like that.
Do you have any more questions? We kind
Are
of
there
covered
any more?
these.
Okay. Is anyone in here taking or has taken online or hybrid?
I took a hybrid.
I know you took a hybrid. I know I feel bad because
And
this is not completely unbiased. But so are there any things that, I know you were bringing up some concerns, right, about getting that immediate feedback. Are there any things in the online environment that could be done, or that you thought, I don't know, are there any things in the online environment that help you want to participate in doing the activities in the online piece?
Online, I think the way that they have it set up, it kind of feels like busy work
Okay.
to a certain degree, but like the bonus stuff is more fun than the actual work. Like there's the games and whatnot.
Oh, okay.
But the actual work is just like fill in the blank, or click true or false, whatever.
Okay.
Would you prefer a free response type situation, like a short answer, or?
To a certain degree, yes. Like I wouldn't think that would be useful for every chapter. Like there has to be some fill in the blank, because you have to fill in the blank with Spanish. But we did have like written assignments where it would just be like describe yourself in Spanish or whatnot. That was more engaging than the just conjugate this verb and fill in the blank.
Would you say you're still doing some of the same activities in a face-to-face class? Like, do you do some still like worksheet type activities in the classroom? Is there anything that's done in the classroom that makes it different, more engaging than when you were doing similar type activities in the online environment?
In the classroom, we sometimes read through passages in the book, like short paragraphs, and we just go around the room and like basically translate it after we read it.
Mhm.
And I find that to be a lot more helpful because it helps you learn more words
Okay.
and get an example of how it's supposed to be.
Okay, that's good.
I like the one thing that my teacher does